Let us look at this training content. I've designed this specially for you guys to clear the cloud certified practitioner. If you don't know anything about cloud, no worries. This is the platform, this is a channel which will help you with this. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe and do like these videos. This will help me understand if you really want these sort of contents or not. So let us look at the first concept, change management of AWS resources. When we talk about resources, what do we mean? We mean something like AWS S3, which is an object store, anything, audio, video files, flat files, CSV files, anything, any damn thing you can save it here. Or there can be something like EC2 instances. These can be resources. These are basically, giving you compute. This is a compute service. So if you want to understand change management of these resources, the service that is available is AWS config. What it does is it provides you a centralized way. What does centralized means? In India, if you see, you have the state governments and then you have the central government, which is led by BJP. Okay, and that is kind of centralization of certain things so that from one place you can cascade and drive various initiatives. So that is what AWS config does. It is a centralized solution. It will give you a continuous view of your resource configurations and you can maintain compliance. Why we use it? We use it to maintain compliance. What does compliance means is, suppose someone says, hey, you know what, uh, your EC2 instances you should not use, uh, for example, maybe M6G you should not use. You see this, these are the various instance types. You can create something for general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, certain things. Certain EC2 instances very good for your ETL, extraction, transformation, load purposes. Certain things are good for caching. It may be for your BI reporting applications. Certain things may be good for your web-based applications. So suppose your company says, hey, you know what, the large instances you should not be using it. For example, something like accelerated computing, they say you should not be using it. So with this centralized solution, you can ensure that compliance is there. And you can also look at it in spite of saying not to use it, who did use it, and it gets reported. And it is also good for from a security standpoint. From a security standpoint, if someone says, hey, these are the range of IP addresses that you should use in your security group definitions, but then if you don't use and you use something else as well, it gets reported. Now you will get questions in the certification. This is an important topic where they will quiz you about configuration changes and so on. So remember, this is a service which will help you audit configurations. Simple. And what you can use it for? You can use it for operational troubleshooting, compliance and auditing, change management, security monitoring. Okay, now let us look at some other topic. Now, a lot of times people talk about availability in the questions certification. This is very common. They will tell you a scenario and they will say that, hey, you know what, the service should be highly available. From this respect, what is a multi-region deployment? You have some application like Netflix, and what happens there is, you know, if you are a customer in India, you want to view your videos as fast as possible. Now, since Netflix is hosted outside India, if they do not make it fast, what will happen? As usual, man, Indians will say, boss, I suspect racism is happening. You are not giving me speed. So Netflix told, don't worry, we will do a multi-region deployment. That means we will have data centers in India as well. We will have those videos there so that you get your lowest latency and you feel good that you also have respect. By the way, all human beings are equal. The reason I'm giving this example is a lot of time it happens that there is no uh, real purpose to isolate someone, but people then still think that okay, something unfair is happening with me and those kind of stuff. But it is just used to explain the multi-region deployment example. So you do multi-region deployment. Why you have to do it? Because you want your customers who are there across the globe to uh, get the best service. Okay, if you don't get the best service, then uh, your company will not grow in that country, and Netflix wants to acquire that market, the worldwide market. Similarly, Amazon Prime also does that. Now, you would be quizzed around this question as well. There will be some questions which will test your knowledge on shared responsibility model. So this is AWS shared responsibility model. And what does it say? If you are a husband and you have a wife, both will have at least equal contribution or some kind of shared responsibilities. As a husband, you cannot just lie on the couch and ask for the glass of water. You also have to work. Basically, what AWS says is you cannot be mute. Mute audience. You have to participate. Okay. So that's why what they are saying is whatever uh, is marked in blue, it's you who have to participate there. Whatever is marked in orange, AWS says I will participate there. This is a shared responsibility model clearly defined. As a part of that, patch management, it is AWS responsibility. You see this here. If you look at any of the software management here on the compute, storage, database, networking, or hardware availability. Hardware means you as a customer will not even have access. Where is the data center? What is the address? Will the security team allow you to get in? No, they will not allow. So how can you get in? Then how can you do your job? Because you don't have to. You only do the stuff which is marked blue in color. Okay. And this is something, it is very good. They create a separation of duties clearly. And then what happens is, like at home between a husband and wife, there is no separation of duties. So you will always feel your wife, if you are working, your wife will always make you feel as if this was not her work, but she did it, and you should be thankful for it. uh, so clear separation of duties should be defined in all parts, whether it be job, okay, whether it is your personal life, interaction with parents and so on, and obviously in personal relationships you would do something extra, you should do it, okay, if required. Similarly, configuration management as well, AWS will take that responsibility. Now let us look at the next topic, which is loosely coupled components. In the certification, many times we get questions where they say, okay, I have these many stuff which shows that your design is tightly coupled. What is loosely coupled and tightly coupled? Tightly coupled means, when you marry in the initial days, wherever you go, your wife will say, hey, I want to know what you're doing, or your husband will say, yeah, I want to know whom you're talking, are you having some affair? All those crap stuff happens in tightly coupled components. That's why what we suggest is have loosely coupled. Don't worry about each other so much, trust each other, have loosely coupled components. What it means is, why? Because if one component fails, your entire system does not fail. In tightly coupled, what happens if there is a mutual problem with the trust? You ask for a divorce, the entire family splits, man. Not good, right? It is. So that is a disadvantage of tightly coupled. So AWS best practice always suggest use loosely coupled components. That means even if one component fails, your system will not go down. Suppose you have EC2 instances, 5 of them, S3, database. So if database goes down, your application goes down, right? But you should build such that if the database goes down, some other database is always there to pick that task. Okay, that way your loosely coupled components ensures that the failure is not drastic. And there is a cool picture of an underwear. The reason we are using this underwear picture is for elasticity. This is the best example of elasticity. You grow a bit fat because you are using an underwear for a year, suppose, and in that year you grow a bit fat, or you have lost weight as a part of some regime test, yeah, gym regime and etc. No, but no problem, buddy. It is elastic. It can expand, it can contract. Why we want elasticity in our systems? Because scale up, scale down. Today you created a company and you told boss, if I get 10,000 customers, I would be very happy. Okay, then one fine day you get 10,000 customers. You say, I wish I get 20,000. I would be very happy. My system is designed for that. But what happens? Surprise, surprise. You get lucky and your system becomes viral. Instead of 20,000, you get 100K customers within 2 3 days. Now they are using your application. Your application goes down again and again, and they say, hey, this is a crap system, man. Let us stick to what we were doing earlier. Use the same app. So you don't want that, right? So you build elasticity. In EC2 instance, we use auto scaling for building elasticity. What it means is, if more user comes, more compute will be there. If those more users go away, then we will scale down. Less compute will be there, so that I don't have to get charged for so much of compute. It is elastic. You may pause this part, read this documentation carefully. Auto scaling is meant for this purpose. If you have 2 EC2 and your load increases, it can go to 5 or 10 EC2 instance. Load decreases, it will come back to 2 EC2 instance. That is why you are design your systems in AWS like a underwear. The elasticity should be just like your underwear. Now let's look at the next topic. See, many times you get questions where they say, hey, I want high availability. If that is a requirement, yes boss. High availability, what it means? Put your applications in multiple availability zones. See, there is a region, then there are availability zones. See, AWS has this site where they show all the regions and AZs. Okay, so for example, in North America they have these, and in South America they have these, and you get those regions and so on. Okay, so and within these regions they have availability zones, which are data centers. So high availability means you would build a system so that your application is having duplication. What does duplication means? The same components I have deployed in one data center, I have also deployed in second data center, I have also deployed in third data center. If one first data center fails, buddy, no problem. My second data center, my application is still up. I will not lose business. Amazon.com, imagine if it goes down even for 15 minutes, so much of business it will lose. They cannot afford losing a business even for a minute. So they will build availability zones, they will do multi-region deployment and so on. But would you want to propose this to your client in real life? See, in real life, I'll tell you specifically, if you are working for TCS, Infosys, and these Indian vendors, Tech Mahindra and so on, your client will not, most likely, very unless there is a very hard pressing need, they will not go for multi-region deployment or AZ multi-AZ deployment. Why? Boss, if your client has given you the work, that means cost is a factor. Otherwise, they would give it to Accenture, IBM, Oracle, Microsoft. If they have given these companies the work, that means cost is a factor, because you guys can do, you have a labor which is relatively competitive. So chances are that your client doesn't have this kind of budget to afford such systems. Okay, but it is good to know if you want to press your clients to make the system highly available. Please use this information to do that. Let us move to the next topic. Who does storage device decommissioning? That means you have to throw a storage device. For example, S3, AWS S3, they have underlying hardware which is used for storage. Now they have to replace it because of some problems, or they are doing a hardware upgrade. So how does that decommission happen? Will you do it as a customer? No, boss. Why? Because they will not allow you to get inside the gate itself. In the data center, you have to go to the data center, you have to unplug that hardware, right? So they will not allow you to get into the data center only. You don't know which data center this data was stored. Okay, so you don't know, then who will do it? AWS will do it. This is purely AWS responsibility. They prevent unauthorized access and data leakage also. They will throw it safely. They will remove the data and etc. whatever. Now, on the same lines, if you are trying to get inside the data center, such security guards will not allow you to get in. If you try to still get in, they will whip your back, or call the police. Obviously, not whip the back. We are not in Arab country right now, but they might call security people. Even now in the world, I don't know anybody whips anyone, but imagine they call security teams and or police or cops, and then that will not be good. So the point I'm making is physical access to data centers. This is purely AWS responsibility because AWS owns the space, they own the data center, they own the hardware. So only they can manage it. You cannot manage it. If you try to manage it, you will not have information where to go. And if you forcibly go, there will be legal issues on the entry. Now let us look at the next topic here. See, beautiful girls. She's trying to explain something. What is she doing? She is an advisor. She is a trusted advisor. You trust her. Anyways, in India, if you see, I'm not sure about the other parts of the world. In India, if a beautiful girl comes and sells insurance plans, most of the guys, they tend to buy it. Okay, I don't know why, but uh, that is something which happens a lot of time. And then I had friends who work at a very senior level for these companies, and they do hire beautiful girls at the initial level itself, who do the point to point selling. And his point was that they bring more sales. Okay, now what are they doing? They are trusted advisors. In the certification you will get questions where they say, okay, uh security is like secure, I want my systems to be secured, or I want to optimize my costs. So you should close your eyes and think about trusted advisor. Trusted advisor, she will come, she will tell you about what is safe, what is not safe. She will tell you about how to save money, cost optimization. She will also tell you about how to improve performance of your systems. Now let us look at virtualization management. See what it does. Virtualization management is, see, you might be using EC2, you might be using RDS, Redshift, so on. Okay, you want to manage and control these guys, then you use virtualization management. See, what is virtualization? For example, you want virtual machine, EC2 instance is your virtual machine. Containers is also virtual. It doesn't exist physically, it is virtual. Okay, so like virtual machine, what it does, there is a hardware in AWS. It just creates allocates some portion of the hardware and gives you a virtual machine. You will feel as if you have your own laptop or machine there. That is one. So you can look at resource utilization, performance, and so on. In the certification you will get such questions. It will it will give you an example of, uh, you have EC2 instances, I'm trying to manage it centrally, you also have other resources. Their answer would be virtualization management, like that. Now the next thing is, you see this guy, this is a good guy. You get this guy. So the certification uses always asks, okay, this guy is known as, his name is technical account manager, TAM. So which support plan should you use to get this? So you should go for enterprise support plan. Okay, they will give you access to technical account management. This is important. Okay, you want access to technical account management, and there are various support plans. We have basic, business, enterprise, so various support plans. Only like enterprise support is one where you will get this guys full. See, enterprise support is very expensive. It is very expensive. Okay. See, once I was in New York, okay, and we went to a club. Now, if you want uh, a particular girl to come and talk to you and spend time, it is all about money there. The more the money you pay, you will get more attention from them. Okay. The challenge is Indians will not get that attention because Indians usually are miser after going there because they always do dollar to rupee conversion, those kind of stuff. Obviously, there are exceptions. Now, some people will say, "Hey, what about Ambani and those things?" But there are exceptions. Why even Ambani? There are. I saw a lot of guys who are Indians in software industry, and they were not misers. They were doing very good. They drove BMW, they spent money, and so on. So I'm just talking in general about how Indians usually get treated there. So they know that these guys will not spend a lot of money and you do not get that kind of attention. So if you want attention, so why did I give this example? Now you might ask, hey, why are you telling about the New York story? The reason I'm saying is enterprise support. You have to pay a lot of money to get this guy's special attention for you. Okay, so if you are a client, if you spend this kind of money, then only you will get this attention. See, the next topic is you want to see the cost by day. You will get such questions in the exam. I want to see the costs by day. You should use cost management tool. You can see cost by day by service. Okay, it is a suite of services and features from AWS. Okay, so this is very important. And in the certification, once you get this question where they say I want to see my running costs by day and by service. What does mean by service? That means EC2 instance today, how much did it cost me? Okay, you go to a shop and then you do a lot of shopping and then say, okay, boss, 4 chocolate cakes, how much did it cost? 5 cream rolls, how much did it cost? And so on. It will give you that kind of breakup, cost management tool. Now, since we are talking about cost, I want to cover this one as well. What is total cost of ownership? In the certification, you will always get such questions where it is testing your knowledge on total cost of ownership. What it means is your compute, storage, data transfer, everything. What is a total cost of ownership? You are getting married. You are getting married. You are going to get a beautiful girl to your house. Okay. So what will be the total cost of executing this marriage? Uh, Post marriage, when you're going to stay together, what would be your utility bills, food expenses, blah blah blah. So you get your total cost of ownership, which is kind of your compute, storage, data transfers, everything. Now this is the next topic, and in the certifications, usually you will get such questions where they say, okay, I have EC2 instances and they have to access S3 bucket. Under that scenario, they ask, what should I do? Should I use managed identity? Should I use IAM role and those kind of stuff? So EC2 assume role is one thing that you will have to do. What it does is it assumes a role in EC2, and you can then use IAM service. This role allows EC2 to obtain temporary security credentials, grant permissions to access AWS resources. Now you go to Oscars, you get a dedicated host. So how does it work? So these dedicated hosts in EC2, you have dedicated host. You can do a reservation. What is the advantage of doing this? See, when you're doing all upfront payment, your the cost would reduce. They would charge you less. So dedicated host is like, you have uh, the access to the physical server. Like that physical server is yours. That is dedicated to you. So why do we use it? Suppose you have a high security requirement, high compliance requirement, then you can use it. What means is the hardware is totally isolated at the instance level. It is purely for you. And obviously, if you do all upfront payment, you will get some discounts, but EC2 dedicated host reservation is costly. It is not cost effective. Sometimes we get this question, if is this cost effective? No, it is very costly. It is like if you rent a car, the car is not yours. It is cheap. You can take it for a day. If you just need it for 4 days a month, you can rent it out. It is cheap. But if you buy it, that means the dedicated host, all the engine, tires, everything's yours. So it will be expensive. Now, the next thing which is important to understand is what is AWS root user. This comes in the certification, and what they ask is, when you are first time creating it. So this primarily, what is the purpose? This is the first sign-in identity. That means the root user is the initial admin user account that gets created first time. And what access it has? It has full access. It can do anything. You can nuke the other country as well. It has that level of access. And the root user has the highest level of privileges. Imagine the CEO of a company. He can go to any floor, highest level of privileges, and so on. The next thing which is important is budgets. In certification, you get these questions, and sometimes it becomes confusing. Should I use a budget? Should I use AWS cost controller, and so on? So budgets, why it is used? See, at your home, what you do? The first day of the month, you create a budget that this is your salary. This is how you're going to spend on utilities, on uh, car, travel, insurance expenses, and so on, food. So that means you're creating a budget for that, right? So here also you create a budget using AWS budget, and how much you plan to spend, like how much on EC2 instances, how much on database like RDS, Redshift, and so on. Again, I would like to also include TCO. Why? Because see, TCO, there is one more question that comes with where they say that uh, I am doing a move from my on-premises to cloud. So what should I do for cost reduction? You can use TCO, because when you are moving, it is just like you're moving from one apartment to other. Suppose you were staying in a rental apartment, now you bought an apartment. So what will you do? You most likely will move everything: your bed, your sofa sets, TV, refrigerators, microwave. If you have some kebab heaters, you'll move that as well, or kebab ovens. So it is total cost of ownership that is going to happen when you move from on-premises to cloud. How much are you going to pay for your EC2 instances? Where will you host your application? Where will your databases will be hosted? What will you follow for your security, like IAM and so on, or Active Directory? Okay, so everything, plus there will be some new additions that you would get. You may get a power backup in the new apartment. You may get an electric car charging spot in your new apartment, and etc. So those, similarly, in AWS world, you may get additional monitoring services. uh, then you may get some additional services to get some, like a technical account manager. If you have enterprise support, that guy can help solve problems, and so on. So that is total cost of ownership. Another topic which is important and you would be quizzed in your certification is VPC peering and transit gateways. So VPC peering is like, it is a network connection between two VPCs. You are peering it. It's like you have, peer means what? Your buddy. In your organizations, there is a process called peer review. What it means is your own colleague, your review, they will review it. Okay. Similarly, here we are doing VPC pairing, means two colleagues together we are joining so that they can talk to each other. That is VPC pairing. So it allows resources within each VPC to communicate with each other. And why? Because we want a secure communication. Otherwise, over the internet you can definitely communicate, but we want very secure communication, and we don't want to use internet. Okay, we don't want to use internet. We don't want to use internet. We don't want to use internet. Then you use VPC peering. You use VPC peering. Then you have transit gateway. It is like a network transit hub service. Okay, so it's like, one big ball which can help you connect with VPCs, on-premises networks, other networks, and so on. Okay, so we will end this training session part 1 here. We covered few concepts today which are important. We will cover some more concepts next time. But by the way, we have posted new parts 109, 110, 111 in the members area. New question sets in the members area for practice. Okay, so please take the membership, Cloud Kernel or Cloud Ninja membership, and gain access to those. You can get more practice and so on. See you in the next part of this training session.